Hi, I'm your host Vasco Duarte. Welcome to the Scrum Master Toolbox podcast, where we share tips and tricks from Scrum Masters around the world. Every day, we bring you inspiring answers to important questions that all Scrum Masters face day after day. Hello everybody, welcome to our Team Tuesday, this week with Mher Nalbandian. Hey Mher, welcome back.
Hello, very nice to see you again.
Absolutely. So on Tuesdays, we talk about teams, of course, but before we dive into that, Mher, share with us, what was the book that most influenced you in your career as a Scrum Master?
Okay. Of course, as a Scrum Master, I have read many books and articles related to different, let's say, framework related to Agile for becoming more stronger. Maybe you remember that when we are discussing on the Monday's topic, I mentioned that I have a goal, let's say, to become the strongest Agile coaches in the world. But anyway, I need a lot of sources for getting the knowledge here. But I would like to mention a book called Scrum, The Art of Doing Twice the Work in Half the Time. This book is written by Jeff Sutherland. As we all know, I mean, the people related to the Scrum, Agile, they know that he's a co-founder of Scrum. This is an excellent book. It is easy to read, and it will remind you what all this Agile, Scrum, XP stuff is all about. If someone hasn't read it, I really wish them to read, because Jeff's book includes stories, examples, and explanation, which shows how Scrum can and will improve the real productivity. But here I would like to run one remark, that if you, as Scrum Master, Hero, or there is no better, as developer, you are looking for a book to get in deep explanation how to use a Scrum, this is not the right book. But if you are looking a book to get an explanation of why behind Scrum, this is a great book to read. You know why? Because Sutherland shares many stories of his personal experience, like the story related to the fighter pilot when he was in Vietnam, or a biometric expert, innovator of ATM technology, problem solver, trainer, or a coach. And what he has done with that is relation to Scrum or the development of Scrum. And back into the question part, how and why I influenced most with this book is that the most important reason to read this book is that it may just help to achieve what others consider unachievable. It is motivating people to believe on their goal and skills. And here I would like to mention that every Scrum Master, in my opinion, should read this book, because reading this book, Scrum Master will see the difference between the waterfall and Scrum. This is a really good place, let's say, to compare them. The good example is that Sutherland mentioning the example of FBI in USA. They are spending millions of dollars. If I'm not mistaken, it is around 400 million for creating a database for FBI. But at the end, they spent many years for doing it. We know that in waterfall you should have a documentation, preparation. So we have 5 steps there. But when you are comparing, what is Sutherland are highlighting is that they are spending a lot of money for creating the documentation, having more than 1,000 pages. But who is going to read it?
Yeah, exactly.
So who is going to read it? No one. What he's mentioning, that they are paying money for people to showing that everything is in the right way. The documentation is right, but end result is not good. Yeah.
Yeah,
and that's why.
And I think that's a very good example of the type of books that if we're looking for arguments to share with teams, to share with executives, to share with product owners, to share with other stakeholders, I think this is a great example. Also because it has stories, right? Like that, there's a reason why stories are important. That's also why we have stories here on the podcast, because
Of
stories
course.
convey meaning through an entertaining and insightful vehicle, the story. So, and of course, we're talking stories also about teams here on the podcast, Mher, and that's the question I want to ask you next. So, tell us about a team that you were working with, a little bit about the context so that we know, is it a small or a big team, a small or a big project? And walk us through the steps in which that behavior or pattern develop over time that ultimately led to problems. Tell us that story, Mher.
Frankly, to be honest, it's a very interesting question, and unfortunately, we often come across such examples. Each case is unique, let's say, but meanwhile, if you are looking more carefully, you can see that there are main reasons that always are repeated in this kind of things. In our personal examples, let's say, fortunately or unfortunately, I don't have many examples which I can now share with you, but I have a few. And but before going to that example, let me first of all share with you my opinion and give reasons why these kind of teams are facing this kind of problems. So first of all, the lack of communication. I always tell my teams that we should have very high level of communication. Nothing should go unanswered. As you remember in our previous talks, I mentioned the retrospective, stuff, and this is I learned, and now I'm trying to coach my teams. Um, to have a communication which help the team become more stronger, and we can collaborate each other there.
Yeah, and you're talking about the story from yesterday, right? Like,
Yes, yeah,
where you were in the retrospective meeting, something else was going on, but you didn't know about it, and
yeah,
the
you're
team was
totally
elsewhere,
right. Yeah.
right? Like that's a great example of where communication failed.
Yeah, you're totally right. And continuing the topic, another reason which I think that there are people always in this kind of teams who try to lead, make decision alone and does not take into account the opinions of others. And what do you think? Who wants to work in such an environment where they don't have a right to raise the opinion? And of course, no one, and it is for the reason that we don't have a titles in the Scrum. What they are saying, there is no matter. You are a junior, you are have a more than 8 years experience. I don't know. The decision we should make together. This what I'm coaching. I'm training my teams that if we have a failure or we have failed, it's mean that we fail as a team, and there is no need to blame the individuals. That's what I am coaching my team. And now back to the example, I would share small story regarding to one of the teams. The team is less than 8 people working in one of the project. The issue is that the company where I used to work is also so small. We have only the two small teams, like we are doing outsourcing projects, and the problem is that let's say people are coming in and going out. We are always changing the team
The
members.
team members, yeah.
Yeah, this is a really annoying for me as a scrum master, and not only for other team members. Maybe in that company we used to, how to say, maybe I changed 2 or 3 generations, let's say. uh, and the problem was the simple, the team members didn't have a right to speak. There were people, the 2 or 3 who tried to put the blame to another people. uh, and
So tell me a little bit more. So you're saying that the team members were changing a lot, but some team members were staying on the team,
yes.
and those that were staying on the team wanted to make all of the decisions themselves, right? Am I getting this right?
Yeah, you're totally right. Again, I'm saying that the issue is that we have some members who are working there. The condition is comfortable for them, in the company, but Of course, you can have a result with 2 or 3 people. You need having a big group, let's say. If you would like to have a result, what Scrum are saying, you should be self-organized. It means that, and cross-functional. It means that you should have all resources to achieve your goals. So the problem is that the team lead, let's say, or team leads in that company are working there more than 2 or 3 years. I don't remember. And when a newcomer is coming, and when we are going, I don't know, in the grooming session or something else, or doing technical discussion, uh, we are always moving forward with the opinion of the team leader, let's say, and other are demotivating, and trying to always do not go to the conflict, at the end they just choose another option and go to another company. This is the problem which really annoying me
And
in
as
the
Scrum
company.
Masters, of course, we can start to detect these things when, for example, team members are stopping to share their ideas, right? Like if they don't share their ideas, or they don't, express what are the plans or opinions they have, then we can start to detect that, okay, maybe there's something here going on that we need to pay attention to. Now, for those of us listening, Mher, what can we do? Like, how do we help these teams move on from there?
As a Scrum Master, I have let's say, one tool. It's called one-on-one. I really like to do a one-on-one with my team members, and in this kind of situation, my suggestion is to do private talks, let's say, for understanding the issue. For there is no matter, it's a team lead, it's a PO, it's a new joiner, it's a I don't know. Have a talk, write a topic, and give a feedback. Give each other feedback, and try to solve the problem inside the team. So that the management, let's say, will not know about it. But anyway, the solution from my side is that have a private talk, understand the issue, giving a feedback, and try to find a solution. And another way is the retros. We have a sprint retro meetings. We know that it's a good platform for coming together, that all team members are there for, again, raise topics and start discussing and finding a solution, taking the action point, and try to improve the processes.
Absolutely. And one of the most important benefits of that one-on-one tool that you talk about is that we get to hear the perspectives of the different team members, right? And as going in as Scrum Masters, that should be our first goal, to understand what the different team members feel, how do they see the situation, because they will see things we don't, right? Because they're different people and they're in different positions. So of course they're going to see things differently. And of course, once that is clear, once you understand the positions from everybody, then the retrospectives are a great way to engage the team and to have them also take responsibility over what they're doing, right? It's not just us telling them what to do, but also them saying, okay, yeah, we acknowledge this is a situation we want to tackle, and then we discuss how to tackle it. So great story. Thank you for sharing that, Mher.
Thank you too. Thank you for the question.
Tuesday is Team Day here on the Scrum Master Toolbox podcast. But tomorrow we talk about something that goes beyond the work we do with the teams. We will talk about how to lead change and what our guests have learned from leading and participating in change programs during their career. See you tomorrow. We really hope you liked our show. And if you did, why not rate this podcast on Stitcher or iTunes? Share this podcast and let other Scrum Masters know about this valuable resource for their work. Remember that sharing is caring.